A very good afternoon, class.
Afternoon, sir.
Very few of our friends have joined. Still more are to come. Let's wait for a few minutes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Students, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, we are able
Yes,
to
sir.
see it, sir.
Yes. So in the last class, uh, we discussed about different aspect of qualitative research, and many other aspects related to that. Today we are to see the quantitative approach of research or quantitative research. What happens in quantitative research and how it is different from qualitative research. Through and through, I have been telling you that uh, both quantitative and qualitative research and qualitative approaches are taken as complementary to each other. They help each other, they complement each other in different situations, particularly when we are dealing with some sensitive and uh, development aspects of the thing. Usually we need to integrate the quantitative and qualitative approaches of research, but then we have to understand them separately, so that we can have more scope to use them in right perspective whenever we need them in different situation. There are many studies still being conducted independently as quantitative researches, uh, by applying quantitative different approaches, and there are also many researchers that are being conducted by adapting your qualitative approaches. So more or less we had some brainstorming about qualitative research and qualitative approaches of research, like using your in-depth interview, focus group discussion, then your this one, case studies, um, your ethnographic studies, then your phenomenology, all these things which are the approaches uh, followed in qualitative kind of research. When we want to make in-depth study of the things, uh, which uh, some of which cannot be reached through quantitative analysis or quantitative treatment, we need to go delve deep into the research problem and some of the understanding some of the variables, and try to find out the truth in the problem. uh, that's what we do in qualitative research. In quantitative research, the main focus is on numbers. We want to see, in many cases, if there is a problem, then of what quantity, how many people are affected by that problem. If people are above the poverty line, if the people are developing, how many people are developing in the society, and how many of them are left behind. If people are educated, how many people have been educated, and how many of them have been left behind. So we want to see the percentage in terms of percentage, or in terms of this one absolute numbers, or in many other numerical forms. We want to understand them quantitatively. So very often gets easy to take decisions looking at the quantity of the things. And quantitative measures are, of course, I will discuss in detail later. Quantitative research has its own merits, uh, uh, for which it has been always given first place in research. Of late, though we have stepped into qualitative research to complement whatever gaps in quantitative research, to meet or complement or mitigate the gaps in quantitative research, we have adopted qualitative research. But quantitative research has been given primary place in the field of research. So uh, here we want to understand the magnitude or severity or extent of the problems that we want to look at. Okay, through quantitative measurement of different patterns, variables associated with the problem. For example, if you want to study about health status among some children in a particular city, so and so city, then you have to see uh, how many children uh, you may be interested to see, how many children have good health, good BMI, uh, uh, out of the total children in that particular city. How many children maintain the BMI in that particular city? And how many children have access to health facilities near their houses? And it can be also how many children have received prenatal care and postnatal care uh, uh, in their childhood, and how many children have malnutrition. They are going with living with malnutrition. How many this one children do not have this one adequate food to eat, nutritional supplements for them. How many children's parents are illiterate to guide the children in healthy path. So these quantities you want to know quantitatively, you want to know to understand the health status of slum children in a particular city. So that's how quantitative study can be conceptualized. Okay, conceptualized. So if we look into some of the basic features of quantitative research, then it will be clearer for you to understand what exactly happens in quantitative research. See, in quantitative research, one of the major characteristics of quantitative research is it gives uh, primary focus to numbers. Okay, main focus is on numbers in quantitative research. As I said you, how many? This addresses tries to addresses to the question of how many, rather than asking about how and why things happen. Quantitative research looks at how many, to what extent, to what rate, to what percentage people something happens uh, in the happens to the people in the community or in a particular area. So that's what is the focus of quantitative research. That is one of the major feature of quantitative research. Then number two, it has another feature, that is it follows structured instruments for data collection. It follows a very structured instruments. The questions are The hypothesis is this, research question is completely structured prior to conduction of the research. Then tools of data collection are well designed, and they don't have much flexibility while doing collecting your data. You have a structured instrument to collect data, like you you can say age of the respondent, then qualification, then income, and all these questions, all the questions that you want to ask, that you want to examine, are properly structured. Sometimes they are also coded, given specified codes to respond to to mark the responses of the this one respondents. So these are more structured than your qualitative research, where the question is always open. You have to ask the question according to the response of the respondent, and sometimes looking at the situation. But here in qualitative research, you have to have a structured set of instruments to collect data. Then a third feature is more focus on questions related to what and how, and uh, yes, what and how many, rather than why and how. It asks question about the most of the questions here in quantitative research are what happens and how many things happen, how many uh, this one, as I asked you, posed some questions while giving example of a study of status of or health status among some children in a particular city. How many children got prenatal and postnatal care? How many children did have access to this one medical facilities near their house in a considerable distance? And how many people children are with malnutrition? So these questions are asked under quantitative research, and there are less chances of biasness in quantitative research in comparison to qualitative research. There are also some biasness. There is also some biasness in terms of selecting the respondents that may play a role here, but there is less chance in comparison to qualitative research. Here, once you are done with scientific design and tools and techniques of data collection, there is less chance of biasness in the quantitative research in comparison to qualitative research, because you have very pre-designed and pre-assigned this one pre-designed structure and pre-assigned values, and values this one responded by the responded by the respondents on the field. So you don't have much to change or manipulate things uh, at your own. You have to go with the structure and principles. That's why there is less chance of biasness in this quantitative research. But there are chances of sampling errors. While sampling, you may have this one go wrong with choosing your samples or taking appropriate number of samples, which happens during the designing, research designing, and that may sometimes give you uh, flawed results. That's how there can be some problems, but there are less chances of biasness in quantitative research. Then it also has quantitative research has uh, predictable patterns predictable patterns. As I said, uh, you it is easy to find. Okay, easy to find and compare this one. Compare the this one variables among each other. Which should be given priority? Which is the highest? This one. It is easy to the quantify the different aspects of things easily. We and you can easily this one make decisions, and you can suggest, you can show that these things are happening on the field quantitatively, easily. Quantitative figures, in figures, when you present things, they become easy to understand that yes, this many of children are malnutrition, and this many of children have this one anemia, uh, anemia, and this many of children do not have access to this medical facilities at their home. So when these things are uh, put in figure, in terms of figure, they are easy to uh, grasp them, understand them, and argue them in different platforms for this one policy decisions. So that's how they provide a definite pattern. And if for last years the this one health status of the children have been assessed for 10 years or last 20 years, then you can easily predict the pattern, what is going to happen after 10 years or 20 years. So what should be done for this? These decisions can be taken looking into the patterns, and that is more easier. I That is easier to take decisions on intervention programs when things are upfront in terms of numbers or figures. Then another feature of quantitative research is conducive for hypothesis testing, and followed by acceptance or rejection of proposition through statistical inferences. So only quantitative things, when we place some quantitative value or coding to the responses or the findings, it it is easier to this one, test hypothesis. Whatever hypothesis is um, constructed or formulated, that can be easily tested through this one quantitative measures. In quantitative measures, it is easily possible to conduct hypothesis testing so as to reject or accept a proposition. Suppose you can say there is um, high rate of anemia among slum children in a particular city. There is a high rate of uh, iron related iron deficiency related anemia among the children in particular city. If you want to this is a proposition, this is a hypothesis, this is a tentative proposition you want to test. Okay, there is high rate of this one iron deficiency related anemia in a particular city. Then this should be this remains to be tested. So if one if a researcher wants to test it, he has to collect quantitative data. Then immediately when there is a scale for high or low or very low or average, on that scale one can uh, measure, and quantitatively one can immediately reject the this one reject the proposition of there is a proposition that there is high rate of this one iron related deficiency among the slum children in a particular city. This proposition can be either accepted or rejected based on the quantitative data collected from the field. So this is how it is easier for the hypothesis to be tested under quantitative research. Oh. So under quantitative research, experimental research has been given to us as one of the important one. Uh, Experimental research also is quantitative research in social science, and I was speaking to you about quantitative research, how sorry, experimental research, how it shows uh, cause and effect relationship between different variables, causal relationship between different variables associated with particular research problem. Uh, I was just giving some introduction about experimental research. So, in detail about the process and limitations, uh, we will discuss. The discussion follows here. Prior to that, I want to tell in experimental research, what are the forms of research, what are the designs used usually used in social science research experiment. Actually, experiment is particularly associated with your research in natural science, but of late, this experiment also has been adopted in social science research uh, with adequate cautions. Okay, so in social science as well, laboratory experiments are conducted. What are the different experiments conducted in social science research? In experimental research, first one is laboratory experiment. The scope for this kind of research is experiment is very limited in social science research, uh, because all the people in social science we conduct research among the people, uh, for the people. That's why we cannot put all the people into the laboratory, and we can observe them in the laboratory setting. So, but then still, some laboratory, very few laboratory experiments are conducted. Like, for example, you can see, if you want to see behavior change among children with autism, with introduction of classical music as a therapeutic intervention, you can see them, because number of autistic children in a particular situation are very less in number. Even sometimes these autistic children are put into some rehabilitation home or treatment home where they have laboratories to see changes in among autistic children. That's why it is possible sometimes in psychology, in the field of psychology, we can conduct uh, few of these experiments, laboratory experiments, and among them is, as I said, we can, if we want to see the changes among children with autism, with introduction of classical music as therapeutic intervention, we can do that better. Once they are put made present in the this one laboratory uh, with specific settings, and they are introduced to classical musics or different kinds of music that have been already established to be having this one therapeutic impact on autistic children, then we can bring some place some autistic children into the lab, and we can introduce them with this one classical music or music, and see how the behavior among autistic children get changed. And this needs a sophisticated setting in a laboratory system, and special instruments which can observe um, the behavioral change among autistic children. Psychology has such this one foundational knowledge and record this one um, platforms to see such changes happening among children. As I said, they have limited scope because it is difficult to use such big laboratories for uh, putting all the samples, human beings into laboratory. Then the most popular kind of experiment that is conducted in social science is field experiments. Field experiment is done mostly field experiment is done for social science research. Okay, it is uh, conducted in natural field setting, like you can say communities, families, schools, prisons, clubs, factories, where you can conduct the experiment. As I was uh, discussing earlier, you have to find this one control group, okay, homogeneous groups, and you can divide them into control group and intervention group or experimental group. Then you can introduce them to different this situation, and see how uh, particular intervention um, have some changes into the intervention group, and you have to control the control group so that control group is not affected by any external factors. Uh, in the later part, I will have a deeper discussion on, in the process section I will have a deeper discussion on how these different types of variables are tested in experimental situation. Okay, and it is said, it is found that uh, field experiments take lot of time and resource uh, to conduct field experiments, because um, field social field as a community or as the society. In the society, we take community as laboratory. People living in a geographical area like a taluk or a district or a state or a particular this one spatial area uh, as our lab entirely. So there are a large number of people we take as this one that we take as our subjects. So conducting such kind of observation, such kind of experiments among people is quite difficult and some and time consuming and resource consuming, money expensive. This one and also very often it is very difficult to have a controlled situation for the control group. Sometimes um, there is a large impact of influence of external factors which leads to flawed results of the experiment and makes the experiment fail. So um, field experiments though are conducted and conducted to um, measure the relationship between different variables. Sometimes they are out of control situations in the field experiments which the researcher is not in a position to control. Then the other kind of experiments usually conducted in uh, some limited setting are natural experiment. Natural experiments. Natural experiments are conducted to see the uh, impact of natural uh, calamities, natural occurrings around us, how they impact the people's life, and how they impact or how they affect or how they change the this one people people's behavior. That is what is looked into under this uh, design of experiment. For example, you can see the impact of cyclone, how it, particularly speaking, if you want to examine how cyclone increases sense of insecurity among people, you want to see the you if you want to test this, then you have to be ready with all the instrument to capture the changes happening around them and wait for a cyclone to happen. And you can move on to the spot and see what are the things happening to the people and how the people have increased sense of insecurity after cyclone. That you can capture and observe and capture quantitatively through different instruments used for sense of insecurity among people. So this instrument, this natural experiment, or this method, this design is usually used by um, the personnels in disaster management, or scientists also can be. So disaster management or rehabilitation centers to see uh, how what all impacts affect the people after different natural calamities. Now we have seen different designs used for this one experimental research. Now we can see um, what are the steps involved in this one experimental research. Uh, the first and foremost thing is to formulate research hypothesis. Prior to that, um, yes, of course, we are still to discuss about the process of research. I feel we must uh, quickly discuss on the process of this one research. Then we could have gone, but following the sequence of the material given to you, I was trying to keep touch with them. That's why I have I have to discuss it first. But then, when we discuss the research process later, you will better connect them to the research process. First thing in research happens to be formulation of your research problem, the main area of research you have to find. Usually, the main area of research uh, that you are interested in is decided. Suppose you want to do your research on health, in the area of health, or in the area of education, in the area of livelihood, in the area of different no, social organization, so forth and so on. Whatever area you are interested in, you have to first choose your broad area of research. Then you have to um, do some readings on them, some do some reading on them. Then out of the broader area, you can go for a specific area. Suppose if you want to do your research on this one your health, then what a specific area you want to do. Suppose you want to do on child health, you want to do your research, you are interested in this one health seeking behavior among adolescents, or you want to conduct on old age people, or you want to conduct your research on this one mm, women related health hazards. You can choose specific areas of your research. Then you start reading on the specific areas, make some readings. You can go through the previous researches done on the field, specific area of field. Then out of them, you you want to make your research questions. Okay, based on research question, you have to find this one uh, you have to formulate your research hypothesis. Okay, if you have to design, or you have to formulate your hypothesis. One of the example I have taken here from uh, education research. Education research, the hypothesis is students who are punished have low self-esteem. Okay, students who are punished have low self-esteem. Self-esteem, low self-esteem means low respect for themselves. Okay, self-esteem means respect for oneself. If one feeling of lowness for oneself, so that is low self-esteem. So the proposition says it is a simple proposition or a statement which remains to be tested. Okay, which remains to be tested. Such whatever in whatever field you are doing research, if you want to answer some questions, then sometimes you have to take, not always, it is not always mandatory to take this one hypothesis, but hypothesis provide you with better road, clear road ahead to conduct your research and find answer to them. So for that reason, many researchers, many scholars take hypothesis as uh, a roadmap for their research. Hypothesis guide you um, better in the and make your specific. That's why these kind of hypotheses are taken. Okay, so students who are punished have low self-esteem. This is a hypothesis, this is a proposition that you have to prove through your research. Whether this is true or it is false, you have to prove through your experiment. Prove through experiment. First, the first step is you have to this one formulate such hypothesis for your research based on your interest and based on your questions, based on your objectives. You have to formulate such propositions. Then opera, opera, operationalization of variables. Operationalization of variables is also another important step in your research effort. Uh, that is process of converting selected variable into measurable indicators. You may have many variables in your this one hmm, research. Like I said, students who are punished have low self-esteem. In what all ways they can possess low self-esteem if they are punished? Um, Here, your punishment is one variable. Punishment is one variable, that is uh, your independent variable, and the punishment impacts uh, on self-esteem. Okay, the punishment impacts on self-esteem, that is uh, low self-esteem or high self-esteem. So self-esteem is here dependent variable, because self-esteem depends on here in your research, in your proposed research, self-esteem depends on punishment. That's why punishment is independent variable in your study and self-esteem is dependent variable. So you have to see, uh, first you have to formulate groups with homogeneous characteristics, the students, and you can at least choose this one children of two classes, or yes, two classes with homogeneous characteristics and many other criteria matching. Then you can introduce some children into punishment. Of course, introduction of punishment is another legal or ethical concern that should not be done. Children should not be introduced to punishment. But for example, I am speaking. Yes, uh, if it were true, you have to introduce the experimental group with punishment. Then after that you can measure, after exposing them with punishment for some time, let us say for 1 year or 2 years, you can see uh, and compare how these children of class which was exposed to punishment has uh, changed in self-esteem in comparison to the class which was not exposed to punishment during these periods. So that's how you can see how this one punishment leads to low self-esteem among children. And after testing this, you can say that yes, you can accept or reject this hypothesis. If actually there is no significant change in self-esteem after introduction of the children to punishment, then you can reject this hypothesis that students are students are punished students who are punished have low self-esteem. If really significant change significantly students after punishment have low self-esteem, then you can accept that students have students who have or who are punished have low self-esteem. So that's how formulation of hypothesis is very important step in experimental research. Then you are your operationalization of variable also is very important, because you have to operationalize the variables like your punishment and self-esteem. How you want to treat punishment, and what are the level of punishment, what are said what is said punishment, how you want to this one reflect or represent punishment. There are also some this one sub variables to this punishment, like you say um, this one physical corporal punishment, verbal punishment or verbal abuse. All this there are many other things which uh, should be included, and that leads to punishment. So you have to operationalize and make detail about how you are going to use this variable, this independent variable. Likewise, you also have to operationalize your low self-esteem. Self-esteem at what level can be called as low self-esteem in your research, and what value represents your self low self-esteem, and what are the indicators of low self-esteem, because you cannot go inside the mind of the children and see uh, it is low. You have to see certain indicators which leads to tell us that a child has low self-esteem. So you have many things to indicate low self-esteem among the children. So you have to completely operationalize them. You have to make them detailed, so that uh, they make it easy to measure low self-esteem and punishment in the classroom situation. So that is called operationalization of variables. So uh, through them you can measure the level of self-esteem self-esteem among children. This is an example. You can take any two dependent independent and dependent variable and have your test in experimental situation by using these methods. And next step is development of different standard procedures. So here again, this looks bit repetitive. Let me tell you again. You have to this one prepare a different tools and techniques to measure self-esteem, because low self-esteem for measurement of self-esteem, there are many instruments already expressed by the previous research. You have to go through different past research, past studies, to operationalize your self-esteem. For that, different procedures, different instruments are used. You have to prepare them. Development of standard procedure and selection of homogeneous subjects as control group, as I have already said, an intervention group. You have to go through a rigorous process to select a particular group for the purpose of your study. You cannot just go around and select the people for your study without much consideration to their socioeconomic background, their educational background, and other criteria as required for your study. You have to read adequate of your previous studies dealing with such problems, conducting such research, so that they provide a lot of inputs to you, so that you this one conduct standard procedure without much error. Then devising rules and principles for your own study, how you are going to conduct, what are the don'ts and do's in your this one experiment studies, what could be the limitations, how you should address them, what could be the challenges, how you could address them. All these things you have to devise so that it becomes easy for you to conduct research even when problems come in your research. Then, in the fourth stage, you are to conduct the actual experiment. You have to conduct the actual experiments and records things as they are according to your guidelines and standard procedure. Then, the final stage, final step is drawing statistical inferences by calculation and numerical treatment to your findings, and then acceptance and rejection of your hypothesis. This is the standard process, or as I said, you series of steps you have to follow in your experimental research or experiment. Okay, for any experiment or experimental research, these 5 points are fundamental. There may be other steps and sub steps in them, but fundamentally, foundationally, basically, you have to follow these five methods of sorry, 5 steps of experiments or experimental research while conducting any research. Now we have to look at uh, advantages and disadvantages of this one experimental research. Um, among there are many advantages actually. uh, at this level we cannot critically or very deeply go into them, but as undergraduate students you must know that experimental research have ability to test cause and effect relationship with greater accuracy. They can accurately uh, test and measure and find the relationship between different this one cause and effect relationship between different variables. Suppose you say that there is a relationship between illiteracy and poverty. There is a relationship between this one your punishment and low self-esteem among the students, and there is a relationship between education and income, education and income. uh, there is a relationship between um, your uh, health seeking behavior and your health. Okay, behavior, health seeking behavior and health. So all these this one relationship between different uh, variables are cause and effect relationship between variables are done more accurately under experimental research. Then validity is the hallmark. in experimental research. Since all the things are done uh, on a fixed procedure, standard guidelines upfront, there is nothing to deviate. One can say that the findings are valid, though there are some hidden flaws. Of course, there may be uh, uh, we are maybe liable to some human errors while conducting even experimental research. But when so far as the process that we follow in experimental research, everything under control. um, if As far as it is concerned with this one, the procedures, the methods and techniques followed under experimental research, validity is the hallmark. Okay, nobody can question this kind of research when we are readily explaining the methods and procedures of research. Then, because of its validity, because of its accuracy, this one experimental inputs received from or results received from experimental research are very valuable inputs for policymakers and social planners. Okay, they are readily consumable by the policymakers and social planners because they follow very valid methods, experiments in systematic way. That's why they are always likely to provide beneficial inputs for policymakers and social planners. Along with that, though experimental research have many numbers of advantages, they also are stuck with or obstructed with this one many disadvantages disadvantages as well. You can see um, it is very difficult in terms of planning, execution, interpretation, and generalization of finding in experimental research. You are following a very structured method. Sometimes it is very difficult to select the appropriate sample or subject for you. Subject means on which we conduct our experiment. The people on which we conduct in a natural experiment in natural science, we conduct research on rats. It is known that rats have similar kind of blood content with human beings. So that's why many times rats are used uh, before experiment on human. Most of the experiments, biological experiments, are done on rats that are related on human beings. Okay. Then yes, um, in experiment um, on social science, you have to be very cautious on selecting your this one subjects on whom you are going to conduct your research. You have to examine all the criterias that match to your research, okay, that go with your research objective. Then only the results will be appropriate and accurate for your studies, and which is very tough task in doing in experimental research. Then the other disadvantage in experimental research is Hawthorne effect. Hawthorne effect, as I already said to you in the previous classes. Again, to repeat, Hawthorne effect is the effect that um, when you observe people, sometimes it is very likely that when people know that you are observing them, they tend to behave, change their behavior. Okay, change their behavior to show uh, uh, s- uh, different behavior, hiding their natural behavior. Okay, hiding, people tend to hide their natural behavior in a natural setting. Wherever you are, once they know that somebody is observing them, okay, uh, then they tend to change their behavior. Suppose you are observing the children in a classroom. Suppose some stimuli is provided to them. Some stimuli is provided to them. Take for an example, you how they react to uh, the distribution of chocolates in the classroom. Suppose you are giving them throwing some chocolates into the classroom, and trying to observe how they react to those chocolates, whether they pick up the chocolates or not. You want to observe. If they know that somebody is observing whether they are picking up the chocolate or not, then they have a different behavior in the classroom. If they don't know, if they know that nobody is observing them, then they have a different behavior. If somebody is observing, they are very cautious, they may not pick up the chocolate. If somebody is observing them, not observing them, nobody is observing them, it is very likely that children tend to pick up the chocolates and uh, have them. So this is how very often uh, subjects uh, subjects are, yes, subjects are likely to show favorable behavior, likely behavior, when they know that somebody is observing them. This is called Hawthorne effect. And this very often, while conducting experiment, very often it gives flawed results in
mambo ya kujakuta watu wana na timu mingi kwa sauti
Eh, basi, please, you need.
mimba sina choke tuti kapena wa mama kwala ai anali bino bino mimi.
so this is very this one uh, significant. This advantage is very much this one potential. It can potentially impact your or tumble your entire findings of the research. That's why Athon effect is a strong disadvantage in experimental studies. Then very often complete reliance on statistical correlation and statistical inferences also have some misleading this one results in experimental research. Sometimes people suggest, critics of this one experimental research suggest that it should also include some qualitative this one mm, contents or qualitative practices into experimental research, so that it can improve the result. So another this one disadvantage is limited scope for experiment on human subjects on ethical grounds. See, very often it is very difficult. As I said, you cannot introduce children into punishments. This goes against punishment. So even giving this example, also I don't dare to say that the children should be introduced to or exposed to punishment. Similar things happen in other areas also, other sensitive areas, like impact of domestic violence among women, uh, impact on different actions on criminals in the prison. Those things very often you cannot do experiment on. That's why experiment has limited scope on human subjects. So these are the limitations of or disadvantages of experimental research. Uh, the other one is Unit 4 of Vision Block 2, Survey Research. Survey research is another research, another approach for quantitative research. Okay, quantitative research. Survey research also is a quantitative research. It is among the most popular and earliest method of research. Um, Quantitative research under the quantitative research, survey research. Usually, under this research, what happens? People conduct things like opinion poll or responses of the people, large number of people, to have a quantitative data on different research problems, different research problems. So, suppose you want to, as I cited an example, if you want to conduct health status of children in a district or a state, then you have to uh, have a survey of children all over your study area, okay, or uh, sample survey you can conduct, but it is done over a large area, large number of people, large number of people. Survey research is usually conducted on large number of people to find quantitative data, quantitative data, like on like education, health status, livelihood, income, um, many other things that you want to know about quantity of quantitative aspect of population. Then you have to go through this method. Usually in survey method of research, survey research, what happens? Schedules or questionnaires uh, are used to collect data. Schedules, schedules, and questionnaires uh, are used to collect data. So very often people fail to make differences between schedules and questionnaires. They take them as one, but there are differences between schedules and questionnaires. Schedules are the similar things structured like questionnaires, set of questions Basically, this one close-ended questions with multiple choices, and sometimes also they are mixed with this one close-ended questions and open-ended questions. You can have multiple choice questions and this one open-ended questions or long questions as well. So these are schedules or questionnaires are the seats where you have list of your questions, and sometimes for multiple choice questions even answers. These in case of schedules, what happens, you are going to the respondents physically, you are meeting them, and you are reading the questions and listening the responses from the people, and you are marking them on your sheet of questions. That is known as schedules. Okay, you have predetermined set of questions. You are going to the this one respondents as per your sample. Then you are trying to enumerate the responses. You are reading the questions or explaining them. You are trying to make them understand the questions. Then you are marking the responses given by the respondents, and you are not supposed to this one change the responses given by the this one respondents. That's what is schedule. And the other one, questionnaire, means the same set of questions, same set of questions, same kind of questions. When you send them by email, okay, by email to the people at distant locations, or you are doing online, so that people, the respondents who are given with this questionnaires respond, enumerate their answers in the sheets, then send back to you for analysis. That is called questionnaires. Questionnaires are physically sent to the this one, respondents, or they are also sometimes sent to email, and sometimes even WhatsApp. Nowadays, even WhatsApp is also used. Then Survey Monkey, like software, this one things are sent online to be a large scale of people spread over distant locations. Then the questions are answered, and those questions are again edited, then analyzed, tabulated, and analyzed, and studies are conducted. Interpretation and findings are derived. So this is how sorbet method of research takes place, and this under sorbet method, as I said you, sometimes you have to um, do sampling under sorbet method, because you have to take a large population as your universe or um, study. Suppose you want to study um, health status again, health status of children in your state. In your state, it it is not always possible to go to all the children in your state and get the questionnaire, sorry, schedules filled. Or you cannot always, it is both time consuming and expensive and strenuous to conduct such large studies at once. So what is done here is to reduce the work. Sampling is done. Okay, sampling is done. Like from among the large large population, you want to generalize your findings. You have to choose certain population by following definite methods and tools and techniques. Then you take a small sample and say, you can say that representative sample, and study on them at least 1000 or 2000 children. You can study and say that the entire state of sorry, the health status of entire all the children of entire state is so and so. You can generalize the one, but here you have to follow the this one very scientific way of selecting your sampling, which I will be discussing with greater detail in the later sections. So sampling is done, then the study is conducted by following this whatever I said, if I said to you here, and then the findings can be generalized. In survey research and quantitative research, uh, in general, broadly, different scaling techniques are used, like Likert scale, Thurston scale, Gutman scale, Bogard scale. There are many scales are used in quantitative research. I think before discussing this, let me discuss some fundamental things of research so that you get more convenient to understand this scaling technique. These are a bit more technical than other things. I will be discussing them later on for you. Okay, scaling techniques. If I forget, then please remind me. We will be discussing them in the next classes. Another important thing to discuss after a discussion, there are many other quantitative researches as well. Not only your experiment research and survey research are under the purview of quantitative research. Even descriptive research, exploratory research, even your historical research, and many other kinds of analytical research, many other research also can be done quantitatively. Quantitative, they also can come under the quantitative research, and qualitative and quantitative research can be used interchange complementarily, complementing each other. That's why there is no strict boundary of qualitative research and quantitative research in the recent days, because they are used interchangeably. Only thing is we have to understand them from their own perspective, so that we can assimilate them, integrate them, and when we use them in integrated research. Very often, as I said you, in the recent years, many of the research studies are conducted integratedly, um, by using mixed method research. Okay, usually mixed method, as I said, under mixed method, both qualitative and quantitative data are integrated in such a way that they complement each other. They complement each other to uh, enhance the quality of research, enhance the findings of the research, and support its purpose. Um, Under mixed method research, even there are different designs used. Different designs are used under mixed method research or integrated research. Integrated research, there are different designs used. Among them, at least four are discussed here. Um, Number one is your sequential explanatory design. Okay, sequential explanatory design. Explanatory design. Here, under this, you know that under mixed method, both qualitative and quantitative research, data or qualitative and quantitative methods are used integratively. Okay, integratively and cautiously. Rationally, they are merged to find meet the better interest of the research. To meet the better interest of the research. Among them, there is a question how this one qualitative and quantitative methods are integrated with each other, how they are bound with each other to find better results. Among them, we have different ways, like those are named here: sequential explanatory uh, design. Under this design of mixed method research or integrated research, what happens? Information is information about problem is uh, gathered using quantitative data first. First, it is gathered to quantitative data, and some insight is gained through quantitative data, and after that, it is for this one. It is found that some gaps are existing in the research. That's why the help of qualitative research is this one taken in the later part. So this is was sequential explanatory design. First, quantitative data is collected. Some primary insights is gained, and after that, qualitative research is adapted. Qualitative data are collected and analyzed to contextualize the findings. Okay, contextualize the finding in specific contexts. Okay, specific contexts. For quantitative data, certain kind of models can be used at the first place. Then later on, whatever the findings have been gained from the quantitative data, that is contextualized in the local context by qualitative data. Why this happens in that particular area or among that particular communities, that is contextualized. Then sequential exploratory research, sorry, sequential exploratory design. Here, first some qualitative data is collected. Qualitative data is collected to explore uh, or to gain some preliminary understanding about the things. Okay, this is something like just interacting with some people to know whether child labor is happening in their place. Just informally interacting with the people to know child labor is happening in their area, whether child labor is a problem in their area, or to understand just who are the people who take child labor and who are the people going for child labor. just having some informal and qualitative discussion with uh, the subject area, then structuring your quantitative this one instruments, quantitative design, and collect quantitative data to substantiate the qualitative findings. Okay, qualitative findings. That is sequential exploratory design. Then sequential transformative design. Sequential transformative design. First, uh, both of them, uh, either this one there is no first or there is no first or second for any of the design. According to the need of the study, the researcher can decide which one he or she wants to do. He or she wants to do. If the researcher feels, according to the problem of the study, if the researcher feels it is convenient to, or it is important to do quantitative research first, then I can go to supplement the findings with this one qualitative data, then that's fine. She or he can go with that. First collect the quantitative data, then go for qualitative data and complement the quantitative findings. If all on the other side, if the this one, researcher finds that it is important that I should go for qualitative data, and then I will supplement the qualitative data with quantitative data. Then she can go for qualitative data first, then um, later on she can or he can collect the quantitative data. So here complete freedom is given to the researcher according to the need of the study and convenience of the researcher. That can be done sequential transformative data, or she can he or she can change interchange between qualitative and quantitative data, sequence of qualitative and quantitative data, sequence of collecting qualitative and quantitative data. Then the last design of mixed method is concurrent triangulation design. Concurrent triangulation design. It is uh, one of the most popular among the four. While you collect your data, while designing, even you plan to collect data simultaneously, both the quantitative and qualitative data simultaneously, because under this on the above designs, with the above designs, what happens, you have to visit the same respondents twice, thrice, and so. But if you don't want to go repeatedly to the same respondent, same area repeatedly, then you have to do even this one concurrent triangulation method, where simultaneously you are collecting this one qualitative and quantitative data, collecting quantitative data, so that um, when you are after asking this one quantitative data, immediately you also ask the qualitative data, you go for qualitative data. And one second. Then, while analysis, both of them you use um, simultaneously after for each variable you discuss quantitative data and qualitative data alongside to justify your this one findings, or just you complement each other. This one quantitative findings, quantitative data and qualitative data, you are trying to justify the findings through quantitative and qualitative data simultaneously and at same place. So uh, these are the different designs under mixed method research. Students, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, you are audible enough.
Audible.
Acha, that's fine. Thank you. So, you have any queries with regard to classes? Students, you can come up.
Okay, I have a few questions to ask.
Yes,
What is
yes.
the difference? What is the difference between the computer-assisted personal interview and the paper personal interview? Was it recommended to use computer-assisted personal interview in each every research? Thank you.
Um, uh, uh, could you please repeat the question, dear?
Okay, I'm talking about when we are conducting the research. One can
Yes,
use computer assisted personal interview, and the other one
yes,
can
yes.
use paper personal interview, which is PAPI. So, which one is recommended when we are to do the research? Apart from
Yes.
that, I have also another question. In our research, are we going to do with literature review and the likes, like we are writing a proposal, or it's just a research method? Thank you.
Uh, to your first question, uh, usually when we do interview, when we conduct interview, uh, usually unless we have this one like video chatting or some this one mm, conference, video conference, we cannot do this one interview. You cannot we cannot conduct interview. What I was saying basically was this one about questionnaires, sending questionnaires over emails, and
Yes, yes, it's questionnaire.
yes,
Yeah, it's
yes,
questionnaire, right?
yes, yes. I was talking about sending questionnaires to people who actually when we send questionnaires through computer assisted process. If we go for this one questionnaires uh, through email, we have to trust the people who have consented for answering our questions or respond to our questionnaire. Them only we can this one go for sending these questionnaires, because it is always not advisable or always not viable or practical to send your questions whoever you have contact with. Sometimes you have to take prior consent of the respondents before sending them this questionnaire. For that you have to take care well before sending the questionnaire to them. And if you're talking about interview, then you have to have it may be whether it is on screen or face to face. You have to take the consent of interviewee before you conduct the same. um, Interview is yes, another way of collecting data. I have basically spoken to you about this one schedules and this this questionnaires. And while interview is always better when you contact face to face. Interview, when you conduct interview, if you are going to the respondent physically and conducting, that is more fruitful and that is more this one informative than your video conference. Because when you do them physically, you can observe them, their gestures, their postures, their eye movement, their surroundings, their audition, body language, everything you can observe only when you are physically interacting with them. And I was talking to you when I spoke about qualitative research and an in-depth interview, right? In-depth interview, I said you have to follow this. Then with regard to your second question, I the voice was a bit resounding. I could not get it properly. Could you please repeat the question, second question, Chaima?
Okay, okay. I was asking about research methods, but it has to do with when we are doing research. Is it different with the one which we used to write literature review? We are writing a proposal in a research. Is it different with this one, or it's
Yes.
the same? We are going there.
Right. You are on the right track. Of course,
Okay.
I'm still to discuss about the entire process of research. Actually, I like to discuss the process of research from starting from your starting from your problem formulation of research problem to till your research report writing. That is very important when you write proposals and so and so. um, uh, uh, you have to uh, your literature review, while speaking about literature review, it is an ongoing process. It is a ongoing process, and literature review is the first thing we are supposed to do as researcher. Suppose you were thinking about doing your research on health, then start reading on studies done on health. In the area of health, you have to read ample of studies, okay, review ample of materials uh, on the field that you are interested in research. Then you can start your study formulation of this one problem. After formulation of the problem, you have decided on which specific topic I have to research, I have to conduct my research. For this also, prior to this also, you have to read a lot of materials on the area of your interest, okay, on the area of your interest. And after that, after this one your problem has been perfectly formulated, you can even as a part of your this one research progress, you can also uh, mention about a review of research. Both you first thing you have to do is you have to review lot of research, lot of research already done on the specific topic you have formulated, or specific research problem you have formulated. Then only you will find lot of insight to conduct and further steps of your research. And in research proposal as well, you have to mention, you have to mention your reviews, what all reviews you have done on the field, because you have to show how credible research materials you have followed before making your research proposal stand. That's why you have to, even in your research proposal, you have to mention about your this one review of research, okay, review of literature, different literature existing in the field. Many times if your review gives weight to your research proposal, because if you have reviewed some of the influential, some of the authorities on the field, then it has more weight than the this one studies that have a review on very local and light authorities on the field. That's why it is important to have good literature review on the field. Yes, I hope I make some sense.
Yes, yes, I've understood what you have said. I'm
Yes,
hoping for the better that we should go forward with that. We really want to learn more about that. Thank you very
yes,
much, sir.
welcome. Even we will have a discussion on uh, uh, the entire this one process and all the steps involved in this one research, in a research. Then I will tell how you will uh, be um, developing your proposal in for any kind of research. That will be very helpful for you to conceptualize proposal. Of course, um, they will help you in proposing any research in the area you are interested in. Still, I am not feeling better, uh, but I am trying. I am very much interested in teaching you students. I like to interact with you all. Um, that's what I even don't stop. Don't like to uh, cancel these classes, and I'm trying to uh, take the classes. I hope I will. Uh, I'm giving you some inputs for your studies, further studies. Okay, any questions? Yes, we can see some of the advantages of uh, mixed research. As we know that we have integrated or mixed research to gain more understanding and more insights into the research we are conducting. We have to use both qualitative and quantitative data on the field and try to integrate them to complement our findings. On this process, uh, many advantages have been enumerated of integrated research or mixed method research. Uh, One of them is method research addresses the weaknesses inherent in both quantitative method, I mean sole quantitative method and sole qualitative method. When in individually qualitative method is conducted, it has some this one gaps, and likewise quantitative method also, when we follow quantitative methods, we are not able to touch some of the qualitative aspect of the things in our research. So that those things are addressed in mixed method, and when we follow mixed method. So this mixed method addresses the inherent deficiencies of both qualitative and quantitative method. Then um, another um, another important advantage is i- this mixed method provides a um, holistic perspective. It doesn't leave any part of the thing. If the researcher is interested in producing holistic findings, and he or she wants to give holistic perspective to the study, then in mixed method research or integrated research, it is always possible to have a holistic perspective of the study. This mixed method research provides holistic perspective, I mean all inclusive. perspective to the research method. The areas which are not covered under quantitative method are covered by qualitative method, and the areas which are covered are not possible to cover under qualitative method are covered under the quantitative method. That's why uh, overall the mixed method research provides a holistic perspective, including all kinds of information in them in different styles and different forms to make a study a more perfect one. That is the advantage. The other the other advantage in a mixed method of research is always we can even it helps the researcher to develop context specific instruments. Uh, if it is context of qualitative research, if in some area, some area, some part of the research, we need qualitative data, then we have to develop qualitative instrument for data collection uh, and data analysis. Similarly, if we need quantitative data at some part of the research, then we have to follow quantitative instruments for data collection and data analysis. This is how, under mixed method of research, it makes convenient for the researcher to find um, context specific instruments and analysis in certain parts of the research. Another important advantage uh, of mixed method research is sometimes people from studies uh, doing research by following only qualitative or quantitative research have some biased claims or flawed claims of the results. Some of the results, they are not well complemented by the this one qualitative findings or quantitative findings on either side. That's why it always becomes um, important or necessary to re-examine them by following integrated method, so that the flaws under a single method is addressed. Sometimes the false claims or ghost claims of this one previous studies can be addressed through mixed method research. The gaps in uh, either type of research can be addressed through mixed method. Again, it looks like this one hmm, repeating kind of things. Then there are also some disadvantages in mixed method research. Everywhere, if there is advantage, there is also some disadvantage. Some of the most addition surfaced disadvantages of limitations of mixed method research is uh, they are more expensive and more time consuming. Mixed method research are more uh, expensive and more time consuming, because you have to uh, do the same thing from quantitative perspective and qualitative perspective, and you have to triangulate them, and you have to integrate them and prove them, complement them. That's why uh, For a single study which is done under quantitative study easily, some when we mix them, we have to uh, spend more time and more resource money uh, on conducting such studies. Then mixed research is also comparatively more complex, complicated than your either qualitative or quantitative studies. It is uh, these are the main disadvantages of uh, mixed research. So, students, we are already off time. Thank you so much. We can see you in the next class. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a great day.
Same to you.
Have,
Thank you.
have a wonderful weekend. See you on Monday, sir.
Pardon?
Have a wonderful weekend. See you on Monday.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And same to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice weekend.